So I got myself a length of wire. We're going to get to showing you how to make the jump rings, which is the basis for a lot of things, for chainmail, for some types of armor, for necklaces, for chains, for holding jewelry together, all that stuff. Actually, let me show you an example real quick. So here is an example. You see these rings right here? I used them for this armor finger ring that I made to hold it together because it didn't have rivets, so I just used jump rings, which works just fine. As you see, it works perfectly. Those are jump rings. They're just rings of metal that you can use to link together. You can make chains out of, hold chains to other pieces of jewelry. It'll connect the chain to that leather piece, or the chain to the latch, or the chain to the pendant, or the earring hook to the pendant on the earring. They're connection pieces is what they are. So what I like to do, you'll get a mandrel, something that you want that's the perfect inner diameter of each of your rings that you want, and you just wrap it around. The best way I like to do it is I like to use a drill. It's a lot easier. So I'll put the wire like this, even with the tip of it. And you don't want your mandrel to flare out in it, because then you won't be able to pull the rings off when you're done. So you want it to be smooth and straight all the way down, or even taper inwards at the end. I'll take this and I'll line the ends up, and I'll get my drill here, and I'll open it up, and I'll put it in here to where the jaws of the drill will grab the wire and the tip of this. I'll bend it at a 90-degree angle from it like this. And it helps because as it's turning and making the rings, you can kind of pull tight on the wire. You might need a piece of leather or a piece of fabric or something to kind of put in between your fingers and the wire to keep it from maybe friction burning your fingertips. But if you pull the wire kind of tight while you're doing it, it'll, what they call, work harden the wire, which makes it a lot stronger, which makes the rings hold its shape a lot better. You could also, when you're done making the rings, you could hammer them out a little bit with like a nylon hammer, or cover the rings with like a cloth or something, and or a piece of leather or scrap leather, and hammer them out so that you're not flattening the metal, you're just putting pressure on it to rearrange the molecules of the metal to make it harder, so that they don't bend real easy and the rings come loose as you're wearing them or using them. So here we go. I will pull this tight, and as I'm doing it, I'll go slow, and I'll make sure that each coil is not overlapping each other, and that there's also not too much space between each. There's a perfect angle and pressure you gotta hold on it, see? So now it's going real smooth. You wanna go slow. Pulling it tight while I'm doing it. And here we are, we're getting to the end. And if I need to, I just wrap the end of that around, or hold my finger like this and go real slow so the end don't poke my finger, and get it as close as I can, like this. See that? And now we're done. So we pull it, we open it up, pull it out, set that to the side, and then this just comes right off. And now, as you'll see, you have the straight ends. So what I like to do is I take my pliers, my cutters. It probably helps to have flush cutters, because where you cut, if you don't have flush cutters, if you have diagonal cutters, the tips of the wires of the rings will kind of be tapered. They won't butt up flush. They'll kind of like, not crooked, but like, say you got the flat end and then you'll have a pointy end. They'll butt up like that, and it could make a little weak point, but I don't have flush cutters. So on the end that I ended with, I'll find right where it starts to go straight, and I'll cut it off right at that point, so that the last ring is still in perfect circle with the rest of the rings. Boom. Cut that off. It's kind of messed up on the end. You can either take a file and file that down, or that's why it's good to have flush cutters, but either way. Let me turn this camera around and over so you can see my hands work. You can probably see that better too on the end, how it's very marred up from that cut, but either way. So you'll take these cutters and you'll line it up just with the edge of that ring, where that ring, the end stops, and you'll cut the next loop, just like that. What you have is now a perfect ring, a perfect hoop. You can really see it there, so the ends are crushed. It's not very pretty, but it's also hard to bend a little bit because we work hardened it. Now that loop is open. Some people use their pliers, I just use my fingers. And now it's closed. You see that? And also from this view you could see One end is pointed, one end is flat. That's why you need flush cutters. But it's okay. So now we're going to make a bunch more of these. I'll be back. Okay, so that is it for today. That's part 2, man, where we learned to make jump rings for jewelry and all of that, and chainmail. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. And come back for part 3 tomorrow, where we actually put the chainmail together. Let's get it.